All righty. So again, welcome everyone to our Trek webinar. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to post them in the chat today. Please send the chats to everyone and not anyone individually so that everyone can read your questions and your answers. If you have any questions after this webinar, feel free to reach out to the program manager in charge of your Trek in particular. So that would be William Lerder for all of your whitewater and offsite activities. If you are doing the ATV trek, that would be me, Lelia, and then Nick Dorsey will be over the marksman program. Any questions outside of treks, please send to our summit.program. Our agenda today is to talk about youth leadership roles, adult roles, staff roles, and the special awards reminders. So we're going to start off here with our youth leadership roles. The goal is to reinforce leadership skills. So that's with our crew leader, our chaplain's aide, and our outdoor ethics guide. Starting with selecting a crew leader. So our crew leader will be selected by the youth members within your troop. It may or may not be the SPL or the venturing president. Crews comprised of multiple units should elect leaders together. The crew leader will consist of someone who lives by the Scout Oath and Law. They will help plan and prepare meetings and trainings designed to prepare the group for attending the summit for whatever trek you are doing. They will communicate and keep crew members informed of all the information that they need to know for preparing for the trek. Assign tasks to crew members, know the abilities of each crew member, work well with crew adult advisors, set a good example for the entire crew, encourage positive morale and spirit in the crew, encourage interaction and positive relationships with other crews attending the summit. The chaplain's aide is our next youth leader. They will attend the chaplain's aide meeting, facilitate roses, thorns, and buds, facilitate a chapel service, which is optional, and facilitate daily devotionals. This will all be part of earning their Summit Duty to God award. Once they've completed all of those tasks, they will submit their sign-off sheet to the training post in order to purchase the patch. All right, the Outdoor Ethics Guide. The Outdoor Ethics Guide works with the crew to ensure responsible use of the outdoor environment, that is the summit, and helps the crew make informed decisions. They'll attend the Outdoor Ethics Guide meeting. Crew members with experience with Leave No Trace principles are a great choice for this role. Help the crew meet the requirements for the Summit Sustainability Award. That Summit Sustainability Award will be earned by the Outdoor Ethics Guide by going to the meeting, and they will get their guidebook on Leave No Trace principles and hang a tag for each of their crew members that would like to go to the meeting, but only the crew ethics guide has to attend. The Outdoor Ethics Guide, crew leader, and adult advisor will sign off on completing that award, and then you present it to the trading post in order to purchase the patch. The role of the adult advisors during the experience. They provide guidance and support to the youth leadership team. They help meet the requirements for 2D leadership as well as the co-ed adult leadership requirements for co-ed crews. Participate in the chosen program just like a youth would, all while letting participants take all the leadership roles, because ultimately we want you to be having fun. You are on vacation, so we hope you are enjoying your experience. All crew members can be leaders. So everyone is responsible for health and safety. If you see an unsafe situation, help and report it. You are living by the Scout Oath and Law, so you are an example to everyone. Share your strengths and abilities with the group as well as anyone else that you encounter while at the summit. Helping another scout with their outdoor skills makes you a leader.
Okay, so we're going to talk about service projects a little bit here. We are going to focus a little bit more on conservation with these. One of them we'll be doing, particularly for the trucks that are not on the river, is going to be removing an invasive species called Japanese stilt grass. So it's been spreading rapidly in the region and is negatively impacting native species in the area. So our Trek staff will show you how to identify it, but I encourage you to learn about it before you come and be on the lookout for it back home. If you live in the eastern US, I can pretty much guarantee you have it in your neck of the woods. This is a great invasive species removal project for younger folks. It's easy to pull and it doesn't spread like a lot of them do if you pull them up. The next one is iNaturalist. So this is a service project we're doing in collaboration with the National Park Service. If you're not familiar, iNaturalist is an app that lets citizen scientists around the world collect important biodiversity data. So it's a tool that the Park Service uses to map invasive species, find rare endangered plants, and we've created a project that lets participants snap a photo of a plant, animal, or fungi and then easily upload them. So you can scan the QR code here to join the project and download the free app. Once you've joined the project, any photo you take within the summit or the New River Gorge National Park will be automatically entered. So if you would like to participate, I encourage you to download the app now so you can become familiar with it before your trek.
Unmute myself here. Scout Connections is the next thing we're going to talk about. So if you have any extra room in your trek to fill with other scouts, you can make a post on Scout Connections, and that allows other troops, other people around the world that want to see the summit. Oh, we're going back here. Sorry about that. So anybody that wants to join your trek can respond to that post and add their youth to your trek. If you have a scout that wants to attend but can't go with your group to the summit, then you can check out other people's posts for that as well. Things to remember before your trek. So dietary restrictions, please go to our link tree and submit your dietary restriction form. Youth protection training is required. BSA swim test, medical exemption forms. If you're doing the ATV trek, you need to do your e-course. Medical evaluations are required for everyone. The whitewater waiver for anyone participating in a whitewater activity. Wilderness first aid and CPR or equivalent. You'll need to bring those certifications with you. Prescription medications, and make sure you are physically prepared for your trek. All of these treks are physically demanding, so make sure that you don't skip out on that cardio. And don't forget that we also are hiring at the summit. So if any of your youth are about to turn 18 and would like to join the summit team, they can come work for us and we would love to have them. So we are in our Q&A portion. So any of your questions that did not get answered, we will go ahead and be answering those now. So anybody who has questions about anything that we haven't gone over yet, please go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll try and get to them.
I can take one here. So the question is from John Wood on New River Experience. Will there be program at the campsites in the evenings? Yes, there will. One of them is a side hike to an old abandoned kind of ghost town within the park. And then some of the other nights, we're going to do some instructional stuff based on things like swiftwater rescue and whitewater techniques, things like that. So they'll be kind of focused on whitewater. New River service projects. Well, I'm not upset to see that you won't be bringing your phones. A lot of people do, but So basically those come down to trash cleanup or invasive species removal. And really it's just going to depend on the timing of your trek, water level, things like that. So question, do all adults need to bring YPT documentation? Yes, everybody needs to have YPT documentation. New River experience, how will I have access to power? A CPAP. So only one of the campsites on New River Experience has power. For that, you would need a long extension cord. What people have done in the past is use battery power for that. Okay, wilderness first aid certifications. We do require one, but we ask you to bring two. We've had situations where folks have their, person who had wilderness first aid not be able to make the trip last minute. So two is just kind of a redundancy. But yeah, at least one to participate. Water shoes or non-waterproof hiking boots. So for pack and paddle, two pairs of shoes, one to hike in, which is, just whatever you're comfortable with, whether that be hiking boots, trail runners. There's a lot of opinions on waterproof versus non. And then your camp shoes, which can double as your rafting shoes. So for that, you need something that is going to stay on your feet in the water. So no Crocs or flip-flops. Which is a lot of people's choice for backpacking shoes, myself included. But since you're going to be rafting, you're going to need to have something you can wear on the river. So, river sandals like Chacos, Tevas, or Keens are appropriate. You can also get by with an old pair of gym shoes as a budget option. Okay. Do we need to bring tents with us? Yes, you do for pack and paddle and New River experience. And yes, you can share tents and but you've got to keep YPT in mind when you're deciding who's sharing tents with who. Okay, is there a secure location for your gear not going on the river? So what most folks do is leave their stuff they're not bringing with them in the car. And then we take everybody's keys before you hit the river, and lock those up. So definitely don't bring your car keys out on the water with you, but treat your car like a locker if there is no car, like if you're flying in and getting some alternate form of transportation. We have lockers, and then for the bigger stuff, we can lock up in one of the river sheds. Waterproof hiking boots, better. Um, that is that is personal preference. So I like to wear waterproof hiking boots. It can be a very wet place. However, some people find that that makes their feet sweat too much, and they kind of just deal with their feet being wet. I know some of our guides just wear non-waterproof trail runners, so that is your call. For New River experience, since you're not carrying gear, do you need hiking backpacks? Um, you can get your gear here in whatever you like, but we use um, dry bags for all of your equipment that you're bringing out on trek. So we issue everybody a large, like 110-liter roll top dry bag that you use for the week on the river. Yes, pack and paddle, you need to bring your own tent. Though a lot of people are going to hammocks. Um, we have kind of changed the route a little bit so the campsites are more conducive to hammock camping if you prefer. Um, Pack and paddle, we recommend that you share tents, mostly for the weight savings. So one person carries the poles, one person carries the body. But if, everybody doesn't absolutely have to share a tent. If you have somebody that just wants a tent on their own, that's okay.
Okay, a couple of ATV questions here. So what shoes what shoes do we wear for the Polaris experience? You will need over the ankle boots. So those are boots, not sneakers. They do have to be over the ankle. So that's for riding. And then when you are in the campsite, we do recommend having some sort of like sneaker or something more comfortable. So you're walking around the campsite. And then what is the cutoff date for adding white water if doing the trek? That is, actually, Bill, if you have a answer for
Um,
that.
yeah, at least a week before your arrival date, because we have to share those numbers with the outfitter, who will be taking you rafting.
All right, for ATV,
Preferably longer, but yeah, sorry.
yeah, no problem. For ATV trek, tents are provided for ATV trek.
Okay, share tents for New River experience. Yep, we encourage you to share tents to save space. This is a bigger trek, so we 30 something individual tents might get a bit crowded. So we do recommend that you share tents. One of the campsites on the New River experience has wall tents with cots provided, but you will need your own tent for the other sites.
All right.
No, we do not provide cots or tents for New River Experience, with the exception of our Stonecliff campsite. That campsite has a little bit more infrastructure, so we actually leave those wall tents up um, throughout the entire season. But yes, there is a suggested packing list for New River Experience. Um, and I would encourage you to look on the program planning guide to find that. Can people bring cots? Um, yes, we can accommodate that, but I would not recommend everybody necessarily bring a cot. We are going to be weight conscious and space conscious, but if you have somebody with a bad back or something that needs to sleep on a cot, that's fine. I recommend most people bring like an inflatable sleeping pad to put in their tent. For the whitewater half day shoes, just a good pair of river sandals, something like Chacos, Keens, Tevas, or even an old pair of gym shoes is fine. It's just something that is going to stay on your feet.
For the
Backpacking,
ATV,
oops, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, for the ATV trek, adults do need to share tents at times. It really just depends on the size of your trek. We have 10 wall tents per campsite, so that's going to have to accommodate everyone on your trek as well as the two staff members that will be sharing that campsite for the night. So it really just depends on the size of your trek. But I would count on sharing a tent, most likely. We do provide cots for the ATV trek. And yes, the ATV trek participants are able to participate in the outdoor ethics and the chaplain's aid if they want to.
Okay, any indication on water flows yet this year? So let's see. Most recently, it's been up and down. Right now, we're looking at pretty standard flows for this time of year, but it's still just a little bit too far ahead to tell what the summer's going to look like. Another question, do canvas tents at Stonecliff have bug netting? No, they do not, though I don't get too many complaints about bugs down on the river. On pack and paddle, are the trees dense overhead? That really, it varies by where you're at and which campsite you're at. One of the campsites is pretty open, but most of them have good canopy. While you're walking, most of the time you're going to be under canopy, but definitely bring plenty of sunscreen. Just going to depend on the weather for that trek. Okay. Can we bring backpacking cots on New River Experience? Yep. in the planning guide and in the other webinar that you can find on YouTube, that's whitewater specific. We talk a little bit about the size of your dry bag. Basically, you just want to be able to get your whole kit in that dry bag, and then we'll be putting tents in separate dry bags, so you don't have to count your tent in, but for your spacing, but everything else needs to fit in that dry bag. Another water level question. So you can, I'm actually going to drop a link in the chat here. You can track the water levels. With this, we're looking at the Hinton gauge and the Thurman gauge, and that'll give you cubic feet per second. But it's, it's hard to tell what it's going to be a week from now. So trying to see what it'll be like in June or July is not really possible, but that's a cool link to check out on the Army Corps site. You can kind of track flows as you get ready for your trip.
All right, Timothy's question here, arriving a day early. So for early arrivals and late departures, we do not offer any add-on activities just because of everyone else that we do have on site. So we don't currently offer any buy-ups for any additional activities. We are working on putting together a list of activities that are in the local area of things that you can do with your troop. Yes, Kathleen. So crews are able to do a extra night at the end of the trek. You do have to, I will post the email in the chat in order to do that buy up for an extra night at the end. So that would be your early arrival or late departure. It's summit.program@scouting.org.
Okay, here's a question about the dry bag. That is per person. And we go over that and shakedown and gear a little bit more in the other links. So I encourage you to hop on our YouTube channel and check out that New River Experience specific recording.
Chris, for the Polaris experience, we do encourage bringing a small first aid kit for your travels to and from the summit, but we do provide an all-inclusive first aid kit that will go with you on the trek with each of the staff members.
And that's the same thing for the other experiences, at least for the New River and Pack and Paddle. I kind of call it an ouch kit. You want to have a small first aid kit with things like, Band-Aids, alcohol swabs, moleskin, especially if you're on that Pack and Paddle. But as far as a bigger kit for emergencies, our staff will be carrying a first aid kit.
All right, well, if that is all of the questions. So the marksman experience also has a large first aid kit that will stay up on the range.
Yep. We have a fully stocked trauma kit that has everything you would ever need in it in a, God forbid, a catastrophic event. But as far as bringing your own, it's like Bill said, if you need something small for little ouchies and, some Advil or whatever you might need, that's totally encouraged. But as far as anything more extensive, we have all that provided.
Not sure about car rental, but that kind of goes into summit.program@scouting.org. If you have questions about transportation to or from, that's also for your YPT, Wilderness First Aid, New River Experience. You're gonna want copies of that, but that's all stuff you should be sharing during the registration process.
Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and stop sharing now. And I will stop the recording.